Hello there, plebes, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. No, this is not going to be the first episode of the fourth campaign, the Russian campaign, the Climb Mount Narodnaya campaign. I do still plan on doing that. However, like I said before, I really want to finish Rue because I'm like the last 4 or 5 missions in. I really want to finish that before I continue another Let's Play. And also another thing is, in January, when the new year hits, like 2016, I will be uploading 2 videos a day, so there will be a lot more room to like upload other stuff, you know, like a let's play or like a walkthrough of like a campaign or like another video. But right now, I'm about to go on holiday for 2 weeks, so I just really do not want to like start a let's play and then not play it for a couple of weeks. So I promise you, January of 2016. I will be done or almost done with Ruse, and I will actually get around to doing the Russian campaign. Today, I decided to do a whole different video. I've never done this before, so I hope that you will enjoy it. And hopefully you guys can actually teach me something, you know, especially when it comes to deck building. I am a giant noob. I've been playing a lot more Wargame multiplayer with my friends, and one of the rules we have is that you cannot have a coalition deck. You probably know that on beforehand, so you won't call me a noob for being like North Korean Marines. Like, if you can be, like, you know, the what is it called? Red Dragons, I think it's called. If you can be Red Dragons or the Soviet Korean Alliance, you're way better off being Marines than that, or being Marines in this. But no, I decided to just make a video on this today because these are like the rules we have. You can like not have a coalition because we deem them to be a little bit too overpowered. So today I thought of just showing you my Korean deck, my North Korean deck to be more specific, which is called Best Korea. Obviously, it's a joke. It's a meme. We all know the memes. The reason I'm going to show you this deck today is I've been playing it, I think, for like the last 4 or 5 battles straight. And it's not an amazingly great deck, but looking at it, it does have a couple of strengths which people might not recognize immediately, but it took time for me to realize this. But damn, this deck is very decent, especially when you're like holding a town, holding a forest line, holding a ridge line. I wouldn't necessarily call this a good like attacking deck, like tank-wise. We're not even going to talk about tanks really, but as a defense force, this is a pretty decent deck. But I guess we'll just jump right in. I've never done one of these before, so I hope it's not going to be too chaotic. I guess we'll just start at the logistics vehicles. So start off, North Korea. You know, it's Best Korea. Doesn't really have that many units to pick from, though, especially when it comes to the logistical part of that. As always, I always go for a truck. Well, there's only one truck to pick from, so that's pretty simple. And I always try to go for a helicopter if it's in there. So I have a truck and helicopter. The Mi-4 is really slow. It's only going to fly 30 kilometers faster than the cargo truck will go on road. But of course, a helicopter can fly over trees and rivers and a truck cannot. So that kind of makes up for it. It only has 200 liters more supply than the truck, and it costs double. But in total, you'll have 25 logistics vehicles. So, I mean, it's pretty decent. You have 11,000 supply in this, and you have 14 times 800 is like 8,000 plus 3,600. That's about 11,600 resupply in this, I think, if I did it like off my head really quickly. So it's pretty decent. You basically have like 24,000 in vehicles, and of course 16,000 in your FOB. So that's kind of all right. I always, of course, pick a vehicle. In this case, the cheapest one is the UAZ, so the only one. And then because I always like when I have the possibility to. I will always pick a infantry CV in a helicopter just because it gives you a lot of maneuverability. Like I have a truck here, which is like, I don't know why I want them in a truck really, because it doesn't add anything. And these vehicles, I mean, you know, you can move them quick, but the vehicles don't do anything besides, you know, move them there because they're just terrible. So why not get them in a helicopter? I mean, the North Koreans, like I said, for the logistics just don't have that much, you know, possibilities. So it's not very hard to make up your mind here. I personally like having an helicopter CV unit. I guess if you really wanted to like lay down a defense, you could either go for another truck, another helicopter, or another FOB, and then just scrap this unit. But I don't know why. I mean, it's pretty useful having a pretty fast Mi-8. I mean, 250 kilometers an hour is pretty quick for a helicopter, for Red 4 usually, comparing it to the Mi-4, for example. And you also get like an infantry CV with like decent like mobility and quick like response time. So that's always a plus in my eyes. We're going to skip the infantry for now. We're going to go directly to support. I'll go to infantry last, basically. Support. I myself am a adamant non-artillery user. I always bring a couple of mortars in a deck, or maybe like one rocket truck unit, just because I want to have the option, but I barely use them. But I'm still going to talk about them. So, in my deck, I bring 6 hardened mortars, because if I call them in, I will never call an 8 trained. If I call like 3 or 4 hardened ones, preferably in that case. The mortars are pretty decent, actually. They fire, I mean, they're only 30-point mortars. Like, I'm not sure what you want from this, but they're 30-point mortars. You can get 6 hardened ones. The range is short. The dispersion is not too bad. You get like a little HE power. It's literally just like to suppress enemy like targets. It's not gonna do much besides just suppressing it. Then I immediately bring up 2 hardened Shilka ZSU-23s. I mean, we're talking North Korea. The support tab is pretty empty on the Marine deck. It does make for some interesting gameplay when you get these out of here. Like, they're decent against helicopters, range-wise. And the Pongays are pretty good against helicopters range-wise, and they have a lot of missiles. But the downside is that if you really are going to defend, you need good AA. If you need good AA, don't be North Korean Marines. If you need good AA, be like Russia, or be any of the other like Eastern factions like Poland, Czechoslovakia, or Eastern Germany. That's why you should probably never play this deck like in a 1v1, because a plane will just destroy you. Unless you have like 15 Shilkas or all 12 Pon Js or Pon Gays, you will not live. So you really need like friendly AA support, like a Buck or a Tor, or even a Tunguska will be a very big help, or a Buck, Tor, Tunguska. Those will be very big helps. The Shilka, like I said, in groups of 2, or like grouped in like several places, they're not too bad. They're only like 30 points, so like, why not? They do fire very quickly, and they have a quadruple 23mm gun, a decent range. But like I said, against choppers, they're fine. Against planes, they're not gonna do much. The Ponjays are IR missiles. They're not radar guided, which is good, because you don't have to worry about seed in this deck. You have no radar guided AA, so seed will not harm you at all, which is a good thing, because most players like myself like to use seed a lot before, or just right before you do an airstrike, or right before you do an attack, so you can take out their AA missiles. But they can't do it with the Ponjays because it's infrared. Sad part is, of course, and then it suffers from accuracy nerfs because it's not radar guided and everything. And for a 50-point unit, carrying 12 missiles, it's pretty good. The range on helicopters is really good. Accuracy, pretty decent. HE power 5, so 2 hits will take down a helicopter. The sad part, however, is that it has very limited range against planes. It's just 350 meters more than the Shilka. So, like I said, against planes, you really need something a lot better than the Ponjay or Pongay. I don't know how to pronounce that. Probably Ponjay. I have no idea. Moving up to the tanks. I'm sorry, I had to do this. I don't spam these at all. It's just that if you go through everywhere here, you'll see that I almost basically, besides the choppers, have filled out all of the areas where I can even buy troops. So I figured I can either not take all these units and be left with 53 points, or I can just get these and then fill up my deck, because I might as well. These Sin Hungs are actually not too bad. They're only 25 points, so you get 4 ATGMs with them, with almost 50% accuracy. Almost. It's not even that terrible. And they're amphibious. I mean, they're completely shit. They have no armor. They're relatively good autonomy. Their gun is not terrible when they have, like I said, when you use them as a defensive force, these are actually not bad. With 4 ATGMs, and if you have like 3 in the tree line, or if you have 4 in the tree line, probably 2 of those ATGMs are going to hit the target. And 14 AP power for a 25-point unit, which you get 44 hardened of, it's not too terrible. And then the Type 59s, there's not much I can say about them. They're just, 30-point tanks with 7 frontal armor. Accuracy is terrible. AP power is terrible. The only really redeeming quality of these tanks is that you can get 50 hardened of them. Other than that, I really see no point in using these. I don't think I've called them in much. Only like, for example, when there's like, let's say you're playing with a team, and you're on a large open ground, and you want to attack with tanks to take over a cap zone because you're playing territory or like domination, whatever that game mode's called, where you get points from like holding of territory, and then you want like 30 or 20 of these to screen like the 80 and 100 and 120 point tanks. So these will take the ATGMs. These will take the helicopter rockets. These will take the cluster bomb munitions. These will take the nukes, the artillery, and then they will be stunned and hit, and they'll die. But they'll die for the glorious leader, while the rest of your team brings up T-80s, T-64s, T-72s, the whole lot of units, Jaguars, you name it. And that's what these units are good for. If you're playing with a team, I will literally have like 20 of these waiting to go near like a massive point in the battle. Not just to be a cannon fodder, literally just to make the enemy waste their ATGMs, let them waste their shells, let them fire so we can spot them in a tree line. That's literally the only thing these guys are good for. Because even on the defense, with 20% accuracy, you need to line up five of these tanks, and then one shot will hit. I can't say the word. I can't say the word. I'm sorry, I'm not American. Mathematically speaking, there we go. I'm sorry, I'm not an American. I can't say some words. It's hard to pronounce it. Mathematically. There we go. All right, Recon. This is an interesting tab. Now, I'm going to just say right ahead that I always take a vehicle, an infantry, and a helicopter recon if I can. So, vehicle, infantry, helicopter. So that's already done. Then I look at usability. I can have a T-55 with good optics with a gun, or a UAZ with no gun and very good optics for the same price. But I'll get to that in a second. First of all, this unit, I do not know why you would not want it. You can get 6 of them in a hardened card. Actually, I probably should actually put that up to a train card. I just realized that. 45% accuracy on 4 missiles with, actually no, fuck, I'll keep them on hardened, sorry. On pretty good range. A frag launcher against infantry. They're amphibious, they're very fast, and they have very good optics. They're only 45 points, and they're also a prototype, so why not get them? The Mi-2, obviously, helicopter recon. It's very small, very good optics. 200 kilometers an hour isn't amazing speed, but, it's the only helicopter recon I have, and I really just want one to cover a flank or to quickly recon a large territory. Moving over to probably the coolest unit in the game for the North Koreans are these female snipers. I think they're female. They have a RPG, a Zastava, and a AK. So these guys, or women, sorry, these gals, I should probably say, are probably my favorite recon, especially because they have exceptional stealth, so they're very hard to find. And I like to bring one up in a truck, closer to my own defensive points. And I'll bring up in an Mi-4, which is really slow, I'm aware of, but this helicopter can fly them anywhere on the map. They can drop near the edge of the map, and they'll almost be invisible to the enemy because of their amazing stealth. I'll bring 2 of these because they're just fucking amazing. And that sniper will make quick work of a squad. As you can see, it will take them a minute to take down the Marine squad. Now, in that minute, the Marines will probably have, entered your range. They'll probably start shooting you back. But if there's a 5-man, ATGM squad, for example, one of these, then it only takes them 20 seconds to take down the entire squad, which is not too terrible. Anyway, where were we? Recon. That's why I take these. And then I very long decided to not take these T-55s. I used them in the game the other day, and goddamn, having a recon with armor, comparing it especially to 0 armor, having a recon with 7 armor for 25 points, you get 17 of them in the card with trained units. It's not bad. Yes, accuracy, shit. Stabilizer, shit. AP power, not too bad. But the point is that you can put this you can put this tank in a tree line, put an ATGM next to it. ATGMs will finish off heavier vehicles. The tank will finish off infantry, and you have a spotter unit. It has armor. It's not going to get mortared easily. It's going to get mortared probably. It's going to slowly lose health. But an infantry CV an infantry recon or a truck recon like this thing is going to get killed in 1 or 2 shots. This thing will actually take a shot or 2, can spot tanks, can shoot infantry really easily, and it's just so useful to have a armored recon unit in the game in your deck. I never realized this, but this is actually not a bad like bang for your buck if you look at it price wise, and it's definitely way better than having a unarmed recon with a little bit better range on optics. Moving on to vehicles. Here I kind of went all out on the flamethrower tanks. I got the Malyutka BRDM. I mean, I had points. Why not? It has 18 missiles. And of these 18 missiles, about half of them are going to hit the target, hopefully. And you get 11 of them in a hardened card. I don't see why you wouldn't have these decent range. You know, it's just to fill up the vehicle tab. The ATS 103s are 103mm armed cannon, like SPGs. They're they're very weird. They're prototypes, but I have no idea what these things really are like doing here. You get 17 of them, 45% accuracy. Yesterday, I played a game against the Canadian Airborne or Canadian mechanized deck. Like, I mean, I played like a 4v4, but when the player I was up against was a Canadian mechanized deck or motorized. I think it was either motorized or mechanized. And this person had called in a couple of ADATs. I rolled up one of these 103s to the front. On the move, it one-shot an ADATs at max range. Like, I mean, that was probably lucky, but these things have earned respect just because of that thing. And for defense, again, their range for 2,100 meters for just a 30-point unit is pretty good. You're not going to stop, like, Leopard 2s. You're not going to stop Abramses, but any tank that's probably double the points, like every 60, 70-point tank, is going to get hit by this thing. And if you get 2 or 3 in the tree line, you are going to do severe damage to any assault coming in, especially to APCs. So definitely a unit I wanted to have in my deck. And last but not least, the TOW 55s, the flamethrowers. I fell in love with these a long time ago, and bringing 2 hardened cards of these, it's always fun to call in like 4 sets of 2, press Q, have them attack, move through a town, and see them destroy, or even better, have them in a tree line and have them fucking destroy whatever comes into their view. It's napalm tanks are a must, and if you don't have them, you should probably get at least 1 card in every deck if you can, if you plan on taking on infantry in a town or in a forest. Helicopters, I had to fill out my points, and this only costs 1 point, and I have no other place to put a 1-point unit in anymore. So I had to take an MI4. They're super slow. They carry 80mm rockets, 10 per pod, I guess. It's terrible, but it's splurge. And for 17 trained, for 40 points, it's just to, like, stop an infantry assault, or to stop, like, a little, like, APC with infantry in it. Or, if anything, to stop a massive tank assault, you stun them, and then you drop a cluster on them. This literally is a throw in there and forget about it unit. And when it runs out of rocket ammo, you literally throw them over the enemy lines and have them spot for you. That's all this unit is good for. It's very slow. It's very not useful, but for 40 points, you get 17 of them, so why not? Now, the second to most important, at least in my opinion, besides infantry, is the air deck for the North Korean Marines, and they get some funny stuff. First of all, this completely utter useless F6C, which I think is just like a glorified MiG-17. It has 16 57mm air-to-air rockets, and I'm not calling about laser-guided or infrared. They're literally air-to-air rockets. It's like shooting a Katyusha in the air. They are area of effect. They're terrible. I've not seen them kill anything. Although, to be fair, I did at one point call out all 6 on a Apache longbow, and I think the 4th one killed the Apache longbow. I did lose 2 of these fighters, but killing an Apache longbow with 40-point units is pretty worth the risk. These are literally shit. This is the only thing. I had to fill up the cards, so I figured why not, right? But that's the only reason I'm bringing this. The A51, or the A5I, I think it's the A5I, has 4 cluster bombs. You get 4 of them trained. These are actually also trained. I can get 4 veterans, but I'd rather just have 4. Hang on, I'd rather just have 4, 6. Like, the more the better, right? You get 4 cluster bombs each. You get like 1,800 kilograms of cluster bombs. Some infrared missiles, not like really worth mentioning, but I guess against choppers they're like semi decent. If you hit 1 or 2 missiles, it might actually take down a chopper. These are just literally, to fill out the cards and to, counter any tank assaults that are probably going to come your way if you're defending a strategic point on the map. So it's always nice to have 4 of these. You can also get 3 elites. I just prefer 4 trained. Because in the end, it all comes down to, can you stop their tank rush? And then you need a lot of planes, and North Korea has the planes. Here comes my favorite plane in the game. Probably one of my most favorite planes in the game. The B-5, the mini nuke, the bringer of doom, the deathbringer, the whatever you want to call it. Just the fucking... This is like the dream of Kim Jong-un. A 3,000 kilogram bomb, pure HE. It has decent range. Like the plane can actually drop the bombs from quite a decent range. It has 15 strength, which makes it the strongest plane in the game. No ECM, low speed, high turn radius. But that bomb is glory. Yesterday, I must have killed a few hundred infantry with it. Tanks, vehicles. It doesn't matter if you see something. If this bomb hits close to it, it's going to nuke the fucking living shit out of it. Whether it's a 60-point tank, 40 infantry. I have not tried it on an Abrams yet, but I'm pretty sure a normal M1 Abrams, like the 80-point Abrams, is probably going to suffer a severe amount of damage from this. The only downside of it is that it takes very, very long for the bomb to drop from the plane onto the ground. It's pretty inaccurate, so doing danger close or broken arrow is pretty risky because the risk of hitting your own men is pretty big. But, like in an open field or in a town where people are not paying attention, I've seen command units go down from 40 men to 6 men after one of these bombs hits, and that is a big help if you're city fighting or if you're being attacked and you have a massive rush coming across a field. Make sure you rocket them or you artillery them or you call in the cluster munitions. They are stunned. Call in the B5. They're gone. Okay, last but not least, pardon me. Last but not least, the infantry tab. Infantry tab. Now, seeing as that I really dislike bringing up infantry AA missiles, I don't have an IGLA team. I probably should get one, but I don't want to sacrifice any of my Jukjeon days. I don't want to sacrifice any of my Jukjeon days. And I don't want to sacrifice my tank faggots. Or tank fagots. Or I think it's tank fagots. So, unless someone is going to tell me that I should probably still swap one of these guys out, I won't because goddamn these guys are amazing. Anyway, let's go. The tank faggots, 22 of them, unhardened. They don't have really much redeeming quality. I would say put them up in groups of 2. Then you get 12 missiles, 40% accuracy. That's about 5 missiles will hit the target of those 12. It's really the only, they're cheap. I guess that's a redeeming quality. Calling in the cheapest transports, which also 150 kilometers an hour on the road, which is pretty good. And then I call in 2 squads of elite Jeok days, which are the Marines, which come with a 15-man squad. Decent machine gun. These are for longer range fighting. The RPG, it's okay. 40% accuracy, 14 AP power. But the point is that the amount of people is 15. That is these are great. Whenever I start a game, I get 8 to 10 squads of these, put them in a town, and I watch them burn the enemy away. Now, I bring these in BTR 60Ps just because there's not much choice here. I don't want to bring them in choppers. These vehicles are too slow and too shit, and I don't want to bring them in these vehicles because they're even worse. So I figured, why not? I have 2 choices, the BTR 60PB or the BTR 60P, and the 5 points that you save by not buying the 60PB, the only thing you get for that is a heavier machine gun and 1 top armor that I don't know why you want 1 top armor because, this is a very light vehicle. If it's going to get artillery, it's going to die regardless of that 1 top armor or not. So I'd rather stick with 5 points less, which means you can get more of the squads in the beginning or in general. Then we have the Jeok Day 90s, which are the upgraded version of the Jeok Day normal 175s. And they are armed with SMGs instead of assault rifles, and their RPG has the same range, a little bit more accuracy, almost 10 more AP power, and that RPG is what has saved me a couple of times. SMGs are pretty decent, and your RPD is just really damn good. And the best thing is that it can also be used as a CQD weapon, so you can use it in city blocks, which I don't think all the machine guns can in the game, so that makes him a very good city fighter. And again, they come with 15, but the most redeeming quality of these Jug Day 90s is that unlike these fucking shitty 75s, these can actually come in Korsuns, or Korsuns, which are, I guess, Russian BMPs, but they're called Korsuns. And they come with 3 tow missiles, or 3 ATGMs, bad accuracy, well, decent accuracy, but the fact that you have just more ATGMs to fire from a tree line or fire from a village will make people scared. They'll think there's more than there actually is. And for 15 points, they're pretty damn decent. You get a 73mm gun with it as well. It's not going to be like a boom, boom, boom spam gun. It's going to be like a almost one shot every 5 seconds, though. One every 4 or 5 seconds. And it's going to do a lot of damage to infantry, specifically. The vehicles will have some issues with it, especially transport vehicles with a machine gun are going to get owned by the Korsuns. Last but not least, or second to last but not least, I should say, another group of Jug Days, veterans, these are also veterans, by the way, veteran Jug Day 90s in an experimental prototype BTR-80A. The BTR-80A has a 30mm autocannon, and I noticed from Call to Arms and other games like Battlefield Bad Company, it's going to destroy infantry with that 30mm. That's 510 rounds. It's also pretty good against choppers. If you have like a couple of these in the forest, like 2 or 3, and a couple of choppers fly over, you can destroy them with a 30mm autocannon, and that's pretty decent range for that as well. It's 1,575 meters for the helicopters and 1,750 for the ground. With autocannon, that's not too terrible. Other than that, you know, they're amphibious. Their speed's all right. That's what I'm looking at mostly. Of course, Korsuns are a bit slower than the BTR-80As, but you know that's what they're for. To mainly be like infantry support or be like against like a quick chopper rush. I can call some of these up and have them deliver to infantry and then be chopper defense. Pardon me. And last but not least in this deck are the Jug Days, which I think are paratroopers. Unlike the Marines, these guys, or they're elites. They're elites. They cost 30 points. I'm bringing in the chopper, so I have one unit which is very quick responding and an MI8 with some like splurge rockets. And they have an RPD, AKS-70 for use, and an RPG. Again, I think it's the same RPG as the Jug Days have, but they have one missile less. But other than that, they're basically the same unit. Besides the fact that the Jug Days have 5 men less, but they do have a better accuracy and stabilizer on their SMGs, and the fact that they do come with a chopper makes them, I guess, worth it. Although I would love to hear if people think I should probably sacrifice one of these Jug Days, get them in an MI8, and instead get one of these Jug Days in a light vehicle, for example, I don't know, like a BTR or the BTR-80A. I mean, I could sacrifice this unit, put these Jug Days in the BTR-80A, and then put the Jug Day 90s in the MI8. It's up to you. I'd really like some advice on that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. It's the first time I made one of these videos. I really had a lot of fun with this deck, specifically in the last couple multiplayer games. And if you guys enjoyed it, I mean, I love talking about this. And, you know, if you want more of this, make sure to let me know in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Cheers.
You claim this love that you never started. You once destroyed a broken heart that was already shattered. Holding on to what we have, you take us to the end.